I hate looking at your wrinkled face every single morning. Those are the words Amanda screams at me. The clock on the wall says it is 7:45 at night. The room feels too hot. I can smell burned candles mixed with cheap perfume. There are 50 people watching me right now. Some look shocked. Others pretend they did not hear anything. I sit quietly at the big table wearing my purple sweater. My hands rest on top of the white table cover. They do not shake at all. Amanda stands up holding her glass of juice. Her pink dress is very tight on her. My son Danny sits next to her eating chicken wings. He does not look at me. He just keeps eating. I cannot stand this anymore, Amanda says. Her voice sounds mean and scratchy. Danny, tell your mom she has to move out after we get married. I am tired of seeing her old shoes by the door every day. I am tired of her old lady smell in every room. People start whispering to each other. Mrs. Chen, who lives 3 houses away, looks at me with sad eyes. Mr. Roberts from the bakery down the street makes angry fists with his hands. But nobody says anything to help me. Nobody tells Amanda to stop being mean. Look at her just sitting there doing nothing. Amanda keeps talking. She points her finger at me like I am a bad dog. That is what she does all day long. She walks around the house like a ghost. She makes loud noises with pots and pans at 5 in the morning when normal people are sleeping. Danny finally looks up from his plate. His face is red like a tomato. He drinks some water and wipes his mouth with a napkin. Amanda, please, he says quietly. Not right here. Not in front of everyone. Why not here? Amanda laughs. It is not a happy laugh. It is a mean laugh. Everyone already knows the truth. Everyone knows your mother is in our way. She is 68 years old and all she knows how to do is watch her TV shows and make boring food. Nothing useful at all. I feel my neck getting hot. My face feels like it is burning. But I do not say anything. I do not move from my chair. I just smile a tiny smile. 'Cause they do not know what I know. They do not know about the special plan I have been working on for 4 whole months. Also, Amanda says, stepping closer to where I sit, after the wedding happens, we need the whole house for ourselves. For our future babies. Your mother should go live in one of those old people homes. There are many good ones in the city where old people go. Danny nods his head up and down. My own son agrees with her. Like I am an old couch that nobody wants anymore. Like I am trash to throw away. Dorothy, Amanda says, now talking right to me. She uses my first name like we are friends. But we are not friends. I hope you understand that things are going to be different now. You did your job as a mom already. Now it is time for you to go away and let us live our own lives without you bothering us. The room becomes very quiet. So quiet I can hear myself breathing. I can hear the clock on the wall going tick tick tick. Everyone waits to see what I will do. They think I will cry like a baby. They think I will run out of the room like a scared mouse. But I am not a scared mouse. Not after everything I found out. Not after all the months I spent getting ready for this exact moment. Amanda is right, I say. My voice comes out clear and strong. It surprises everyone in the room. Things do need to change. Everything is going to change tonight. People look at me with big surprised eyes. Amanda smiles a mean smile. He thinks she won. She thinks I am giving up. Danny lets out a big breath of air. He thinks this will be easy now. But then I do something nobody expects at all. I lift my right hand up in the air. I make a small signal to Mr. Peterson, the man who runs the music and microphone. He sees me right away. He has been waiting and watching. He knows exactly what to do next. We practiced this many times already. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peterson says into the microphone. His voice fills the whole room. The mother of the boy getting married has made a very special surprise for the 2 people getting engaged. A gift they will remember for their whole lives. Amanda looks at me with a confused face. Her mean smile starts to disappear. Danny stops eating. His mouth hangs open with food inside. Everyone turns their heads to look at the giant TV screen hanging on the wall. The lights in the room get darker. People stop talking completely. Keep smiling. Because after 68 years of living, After 42 years of being married to Danny's dad, after 38 years of being a mother, this is finally my moment. My moment to show the truth. The TV screen makes a humming sound. Then slowly the video I made starts to play. The video that will show everyone who Danny really is. The video that will show everyone who Amanda really is. The video that will set me free forever. In the dark room, as the TV lights up, I think about one thing. They had no idea I was planning this. They did not know I was collecting proof for months and months. They did not know I was waiting for exactly this moment to show everyone the truth. My plan for getting even is just starting now. Everything began 4 years ago when my husband Bernard died. His heart just stopped working one day. Danny was 32 years old back then. He lived in a small apartment in the city. He worked at his uncle's hardware store selling tools and paint. Every Sunday he would visit me after church. He brought donuts with chocolate on top and hot coffee. We sat in the kitchen talking about his job, his plans for the future, the girls he liked. "Mom," he would say, holding my hand tight, "you do not need to worry about anything ever. I will always take care of you." Dad asked me to before he died. I promised him I would. Those words made me feel safe and warm inside. They made me believe I was not alone in the whole world. That my only son loved me the same way I loved him all those years. But everything changed when Danny lost his job at the hardware store. The store closed down because not enough people shopped there. Danny could not find another job anywhere. He owed money to the bank. He had to leave his apartment because he could not pay for it anymore. One night he showed up at my door with 2 big suitcases. His eyes were red from crying. "It is only for a little while, Mom," he said. "Just until I find a new job and get money again." I said yes right away. Course I said yes. He is my son. My only family left. The house felt too big and empty after his dad died. I thought it would be nice to have Danny living with me again. The first few months were peaceful and calm. Danny looked for jobs during the day. Night we watched TV shows together. Cooked his favorite foods. He helped me carry heavy grocery bags. Everything seemed like it would be okay. But Danny never found a new job. 6 months went by. Then a whole year passed. He started drinking too much soda and staying up late on his phone. He stopped helping me clean the house. He stopped looking for jobs every day. "This town has no good jobs," he would say. "All the jobs want young people who know computers really well." I tried to make him feel better. I told him things would get better soon. That he just needed to keep trying. But inside my heart I started to worry. My son was changing into someone different. Someone angry and sad all the time. Then Amanda showed up in our lives. Danny met her at a birthday party for his cousin Sarah. Amanda was 25 years old. She worked at a law office doing paperwork. Her family had lots of money. Her dad owned 3 big stores that sold fancy clothes. Danny came home that night talking about her like she was a princess from a fairy tale. "Mom, she is the most beautiful girl I ever saw in my whole life. She is smart and fancy and elegant. And she actually talked to me. I cannot believe a girl like that likes me." First I felt happy for Danny. I thought having a girlfriend would help him. That it would make him want to find a job again. That it would make him feel better about himself. But when Amanda came to visit our house for the first time, I knew right away something was wrong. She came wearing an expensive dress and very high shoes. She looked at my house like it was dirty and ugly. She sat on the edge of the couch like she was afraid to touch it. "Dorothy," she said to me with a fake smile. Fake means not real. "Danny told me so many nice things about you. You have such a cute little house here." But her eyes told a different story. Her eyes looked at my old curtains, my old furniture, my old pictures on the walls. Her eyes were judging me. That means deciding I was not good enough. During dinner, Amanda talked and talked and talked. She talked about her fancy job, her rich friends, the expensive restaurant she liked eating at. Danny looked at her like she was the most amazing person in the whole world. He believed every word she said. "My family owns a big house at the beach," Amanda said. We should go there for the weekend, Danny. You will love it so much. After that first visit, Danny started to change even more. He started saying my cooking was bad. Amanda says I eat too much salt. She says it is not healthy for me. He started saying my clothes were ugly. Mom, why do not you buy some new clothes that look better? Amanda knows some really good stores. Little by little, my son became distant from me. We did not watch TV together anymore. We did not talk in the kitchen like we used to. He went out every night with Amanda. He came home very late. On Saturdays and Sundays he went to Amanda's beach house. When he came back home he always complained about something. The house was too old. I did not know how to cook modern food. My friends from the neighborhood were not educated enough. Amanda says you should learn how to use a computer, he told me one time. She says old ladies cannot be left behind in this modern world. Amanda says this house needs to be fixed up completely, he said another time. She says it will never be worth any money looking like this. It was always Amanda says this, or Amanda says that. Like what that girl thought was more important than what I thought. Like she knew about my house and my life better than I did after living here for 40 years. But the worst thing happened when Danny told me they were getting married. It was a Tuesday evening. I was washing dishes after dinner. He came into the kitchen with a bottle of fancy juice and 2 glasses. Mom, I have very important news, he said. Amanda said yes when I asked her to marry me. We are getting married. I forced myself to smile. I hugged him. I said congratulations. But inside my stomach I felt a cold, heavy feeling. Like something bad was coming. Something I could not stop. When are you getting married? I asked him. In 6 months, he answered. Amanda wants a really big wedding. Her parents are going to pay for everything because they have lots of money. That night after Danny went to sleep, I lay in my bed with my eyes wide open. I could not sleep at all. I kept thinking and thinking. Thinking about how my son changed so much. Thinking about the mean way Amanda looked at me. Thinking about what would happen next. For the first time in my whole life, I felt scared of being alone. Not alone because my husband died. But alone because my own son was becoming a stranger. Someone who did not see me as his mother anymore. Someone who saw me the way Amanda saw me. As something in the way. As something old and useless. That was the night I started to understand something important. My son was not my son anymore. He had become a different person. Person I did not know. Person who made me afraid. The first time I learned the real truth was on a Thursday afternoon. Danny went out with Amanda to look at wedding dresses. I was cleaning his bedroom because he never cleaned it himself anymore. Under his bed I found a blue folder full of papers. At first I thought they were papers from his new job at the gas station. But then I saw my name written on one of the papers. Got curious. I opened the folder. My whole world fell apart right there. Inside were bank papers. Papers for a loan Danny took out. A loan using my house as a promise that he would pay the money back. My house. The house my husband and I bought after working hard for 40 years. The house where Danny was born and grew up. He wrote my name on the papers himself. He lied and said I agreed to let him use my house to get money. He pretended I signed the papers, but I never did. He used the money to buy a new car. And to pay for the fancy honeymoon trip to Mexico that Amanda wanted. My hands shook as I read the papers. My heart beat so fast and hard I thought I might die like my husband did. Danny lied to me. He stole from me. He put my house in danger of being taken away. But there was more bad news coming. I found other papers in the folder. Papers about old people homes. Places where old people go to live when their families do not want them anymore. Danny had a list with prices and addresses. He used a yellow marker to highlight the cheapest ones. On a piece of paper in his own handwriting he wrote, Mom, Sunshine Meadows home, $2,800 every month, close to hospital if she gets sick. I sat down on his bed holding all the papers. I could not breathe right. I could not think straight. My own son was planning to send me away to live with strangers. My own son decided my whole future without asking me anything. without caring what I wanted. But there was still more. At the bottom of the folder was a yellow envelope. Inside I found a letter written by Amanda. A letter she wrote to Danny that said, "My sweet Danny, I talked to my parents and they agree with our plan. After we get married, your mom cannot keep living with us in the house. It is impossible to start our new family with an old woman walking around everywhere. I already checked out Sunshine Meadows and it looks very nice. They have nurses all day and all night. They have activities to keep old people busy. We can sell some of your mom's old furniture to pay for the first few months. Do not feel bad about this. It is better for everyone. I love you so much." I read that letter 5 times. Each word felt like a knife stabbing my chest. Amanda did not just dislike me. She convinced Danny that I was a problem that needed to be solved. An obstacle that needed to be removed from their path. I put everything back exactly where I found it. I closed the folder carefully. I slid it back under the bed. I walked out of the room with shaky legs. I sat in the kitchen and drank a glass of cold water. For the next 2 hours, all I could do was cry. Cry for the son who did not exist anymore. Cry for the family I lost without even realizing it. Cry for the future that other people decided for me without asking. When Danny came home that night, I had already dried all my tears. I had made an important decision in my mind. I was not going to yell at him. I was not going to scream and cry. I was not going to beg him to change his mind. I was going to do something much smarter than that. I was going to watch everything carefully. I was going to listen to everything. I was going to collect information and proof. Because if my own son could betray me like this, I needed to know how far his betrayal went. How bad the situation really was. How did shopping for dresses go? I asked when he poured himself some water. It went good, Mom. Amanda found a really pretty dress. It costs a lot of money, but her parents said they will help pay for it. He lied so easily. He smiled while lying straight to my face. Like I was too stupid to notice anything wrong. "I am happy for both of you," I said. "You both deserve to be happy." That night after Danny fell asleep, I started my own investigation. That means I started looking for clues and evidence. I went through all the important papers on my desk. I looked for the house papers. My husband's life insurance papers. My bank account papers. I discovered that Danny had been going through my private things for many months. Some papers were in different places than where I left them. Other papers had marks from being copied at the store. I also found something that made my blood run cold. An app on Danny's phone that he left on the kitchen table. An app that records people's voices without them knowing. There were files saved from the last 3 months. Recordings of our private conversations. I put on headphones and listened to one recording. It was a conversation we had last week about my savings account. I told him I had some money saved for emergencies. In the recording, you could hear my voice clearly saying exactly how much money I had. Danny had been spying on me. Recording me secretly. Collecting information about my money, my house, my private life. That morning, sitting alone in the dark kitchen, I understood something terrible. The situation was much worse than I thought. They did not just want me gone. They were planning to steal from me. They were writing everything down to prove I was a confused old lady who could not take care of herself anymore. For the first time in 68 years of living, I felt real terror. True fear. Fear of my own son. Fear of ending up homeless. Mr. Harrison listened without saying a word. He just kept shaking his head sadly. When I finished talking, he took off his glasses and rubbed his tired eyes. "Dorothy," he said in a serious voice, "this is very serious business. Danny committed a real crime. Forgery and bank fraud. He could go to prison for many years." "I do not want to send him to prison," I said quickly. "He is still my son. But I also do not want to end up in an old people home while they live in my house spending my money. I need to protect myself." "Then what exactly do you want to do?" Mr. Harrison asked. "I want to make sure they cannot do anything to hurt me anymore," I explained. "And I want them to learn a lesson they will never ever forget for their whole lives." Mr. Harrison smiled for the first time since I arrived. "I always knew you were smarter than you let people think. Your husband used to tell me all the time. 'Harrison,' he would say, 'my Dorothy seems quiet and shy, but she has the smartest brain I ever met.'" For the next 2 hours, Mr. Harrison and I designed a perfect strategy. Perfect plan. First, he would legally investigate the fake loan at the bank. Second, he would help me change my will without Danny finding out. Third, we would document and record everything Danny and Amanda were planning. "You need more solid proof and evidence," Mr. Harrison told me. "You need to record them talking about their plans in their own voices. You need clear evidence that proves they are conspiring against you." He explained how tiny voice recorders worked, the kind they sell at electronics stores. How I could hide one in my clothes or in my purse. How I could start conversations to get them to say incriminating things. Things that proved they were planning to hurt me. "Are you absolutely sure you want to do this, Dorothy?" Mr. Harrison asked seriously. "Once we start down this path, there is no turning back. No changing your mind." "I am completely sure," I answered with confidence. "I spent 42 years being an obedient wife who never complained. 38 years being a sacrificing mother who gave up everything. It is time for me to be a woman who fights back. Who defends herself." I left Mr. Harrison's office with a tiny recorder the size of a coin hidden in my purse. I also had a detailed plan written down for the next 4 months. 4 months to gather all the evidence and proof I needed. 4 months to prepare the perfect trap for them to fall into. That afternoon I went to the electronics store in the mall. I bought a bigger recorder to hide in my bedroom. I also bought a small camera disguised as a pretty decoration for the living room. The salesman, a very nice young man with glasses, showed me how everything worked. "It is to keep my house safe when I go on trips," I lied smoothly. "You know how dangerous things are these days with burglars and robbers." When I got home, Danny was already back from work. He was in the living room talking on his phone with Amanda. He did not hear me come in through the back door. "Yes, my love," he was saying into the phone. "I talked to her this morning about moving out. She is totally on board with the plan. She says she is going to find an old people home by herself." I stood very still in the kitchen, listening carefully to every word. "No, it will not be a problem at all," Danny continued. "I think she actually feels relieved. You know how old people are. They feel like burdens on their families." I turned on the tiny recorder hidden in my purse. The button made no sound at all. "The money situation," Annie said. "Do not worry about that. As soon as she moves out, we will sell some of her old furniture for cash. Then we will work on getting Dad's life insurance money that is in her name transferred to us." Every single word felt like a stab to my heart. But now every stab was being recorded. Every lie was being documented and saved. "I love you so much, Amanda," Danny said. "Soon we will be alone in this whole house and everything will be absolutely perfect." When he hung up the phone, I walked into the living room with a big fake smile on my face. "Was that Amanda on the phone?" asked sweetly. "Yeah, Mom. I told her you decided to look for a place to live on your own. She is really happy and excited about it." "I am so glad," I lied perfectly. "Have you two set an exact date for the wedding yet?" "We are thinking February," Danny answered. "Amanda wants it to be in the springtime when all the flowers are blooming." "How lovely that sounds," I said. "I will start looking at different homes tomorrow. I want everything settled and ready by then." Danny hugged me tight. "You are the best mom in the entire world," he said. "Amanda was right about you. She said you were smart enough to make the right decision." As he hugged me, I thought about everything I just recorded. About everything I would record in the coming months. About the huge surprise I had waiting for both of them. That night after we ate dinner, I went to my bedroom early. I placed the bigger recorder under my bed. I programmed it to record all night long while we slept. I wanted to hear if Danny and Amanda talked when they thought I was sleeping. The next morning when I checked the recording device, I discovered they had indeed talked last night. At 11 o'clock at night, Amanda came over to the house. They stayed in Danny's room for 2 whole hours planning my entire future without me. "Did you find out how much the house is worth in money?" Amanda asked him on the recording. "My Uncle Charlie says at least $450,000, Danny answered. "It is in a really good neighborhood close to schools and stores." "Perfect," Amanda said happily. "With that much money we can pay for the huge wedding I want. And still have plenty left over to remodel and redecorate everything the way I like it." "But what if my mom changes her mind about leaving?" Danny asked, sounding worried. "She will not change her mind," Amanda said confidently. "Old ladies like her always end up doing what they are told. Besides, she already signed those loan papers with your forged signature. Even if she wanted to fight us, she cannot back out now. We have her trapped." Listening to them plan my destruction with such coldness and calculation, I felt the last pieces of maternal love disappear from my heart. They were not just greedy people wanting money. They were cruel, evil. They were planning to leave me with absolutely nothing while they enjoyed the fruits of my entire life's hard work. But what they did not know was that I was also planning something. And my plan was going to be much, much better than theirs. Over the next several days, I continued my perfect acting performance. Every morning I pretended to look through the newspaper for old people homes. Every afternoon I told Danny and Amanda about phone calls I supposedly made to different places. Every night I secretly listened to their private conversations and recorded absolutely everything they said. The quiet, defeated woman had awakened and transformed. She was ready for war. For the next 3 months, I became the best actress in the entire world. Maybe even better than movie stars. Every single day I perfected my role as the resigned old woman. The woman who accepted her sad fate without complaining. Meanwhile, I gathered evidence and proof like a professional detective on a TV show. The recordings kept piling up in my hiding places. Danny and Amanda talked every single night about their detailed plans. About how they would remodel my house with modern furniture. About which of my things they would sell for money. About how they would cash out my husband's life insurance policy. "Right after the wedding ceremony, we are changing every single lock on all the doors," Amanda said one night on a recording. "That way your mom cannot come back inside even if she changes her mind and regrets leaving. What if she comes back asking for her personal things and belongings?" Danny asked. "We give her exactly 1 hour to pack up the basics," Amanda replied coldly. "The rest of her junk we either sell online or throw in the garbage. It is not like she will need any of it living in that nursing home anyway. Old people do not need much." Mr. Harrison helped me officially change my will without Danny knowing anything about it. Now all my money and property would be donated to a children's charity home. Danny would not inherit a single dollar or cent. "Are you absolutely certain about this, Dorothy?" Mr. Harrison asked me seriously. "He is your only son. Your only living family." "My real son died a long time ago," I replied without any doubt in my voice. "This man living in my house is a complete stranger. A stranger who wants to rob me blind and throw me away like garbage." We also investigated the fraudulent loan situation at the bank. Mr. Harrison hired a private investigator who confirmed that Danny definitely forged my signature on the papers. We had more than enough evidence to send him to prison for 5 years. But I did not want cold legal justice from a courtroom. I wanted something different. I wanted poetic justice. Justice that would teach them a lesson they would never forget. The idea for making a video came to me one night in November. Danny and Amanda were watching a wedding planning show on television. They were talking excitedly about the ceremony they wanted. "My biggest dream is to have a wedding that nobody will ever forget," Amanda said, staring at the TV. "A wedding that people talk about for many, many years afterward." In that exact moment, I knew precisely what I was going to do. I was going to give Amanda the unforgettable wedding she dreamed about. But not for the reasons she expected at all. The next day I called Mr. Harrison and explained my brilliant plan to him. "I want you to hire someone professional who can edit all the voice recordings into one video presentation," I told him. "I want them to take all the conversations where Danny and Amanda talk about putting me in a home, selling my house, stealing my money, everything." "What exactly are you planning to do with this video?" Mr. Harrison asked curiously. "Show it to everyone at their engagement dinner party," I answered with a smile. Mr. Harrison was quiet for a long moment. Then he started laughing out loud. "Dorothy, you are absolutely diabolical. And I love it completely. We organized everything with military precision. Perfect planning down to the smallest detail." The video editor was a young man Mr. Harrison worked with on divorce cases. He knew exactly how to combine audio recordings with images to create powerful, impactful presentations. "Mrs. Thompson," the young editor said when I explained what I wanted, "this video is going to be like dropping a nuclear bomb. It will destroy everything." The finished video was absolutely perfect. It was exactly 15 minutes long. It started with sweet photos of Danny as a baby and little boy with me and his father. Soft, gentle music played in the background. It looked like a normal, loving tribute from a proud mother. But then the recordings would start playing. Danny's voice clearly saying I was a burden and a problem. Amanda's voice explaining in detail how they would get rid of me. The plans for the nursing home. The conversations about selling my precious furniture. All of it documented with dates and times. All of it in their own actual voices that could not be denied. The video ended with one sentence that appeared in giant letters on the screen. "Now you know the truth about who Danny Thompson and Amanda really are." Meanwhile, I kept pretending to look at old people homes in the newspaper. Once every week I would leave the house with my purse and come back carrying brochures from different facilities. Danny and Amanda fully believed I was making real arrangements to leave forever. "Have you decided which home you like the best?" Danny would ask me. "I am choosing between two different options," I would lie smoothly. "One is closer to downtown, but the other one has better activities for residents." "Take your time choosing, Mom," Danny would say with fake concern in his voice. "We want you to be comfortable and happy in your new home." What a fake person. What a liar and betrayer. But I just kept smiling and acting like I believed every word. Like I trusted him completely. In December, Amanda announced they decided to have a big engagement dinner party before the actual wedding. They were going to invite all the family members, friends, and neighbors. They wanted it to be a memorable event that everyone would remember. "It is going to be held in the big ballroom at the country club," Danny told me excitedly. "Amanda wants everything to be very elegant and fancy." "How wonderful," I replied sweetly. "Can I help with any of the planning or preparations?" "Do not worry about a thing, Mom," Danny said. "Amanda's parents are hiring all the workers and decorators. You just have to show up, look nice, and enjoy the party." "Perfect," I said. But inside I was thinking something completely different. I could not have asked for a better opportunity than this. A week before the dinner party, I called Mr. Peterson, the MC they hired to run the event. He was an older gentleman who knew my family for many years. "Mr. Peterson," I said on the phone, "I need to ask you for a very special favor." I explained that I wanted to show a surprise tribute video for Danny and Amanda. A special video I made myself as a gift. "Of course, Mrs. Thompson," Mr. Peterson said kindly. "What time during the party would you like me to play your video?" "When I give you a specific signal," I explained. "It is meant to be a surprise, so it has to happen at exactly the right moment." Mr. Peterson agreed without asking any questions. He thought I was just a sweet mother preparing something nice for her son's engagement. He had no idea what was really coming. The last few days before the dinner were the hardest days to get through. Danny and Amanda were so excited. They talked constantly about the party, about the guest list, about how perfect and amazing the night would be. In the end, everything worked out great, Danny said to me the night before the party. You found a place where you will be happy and taken care of. We are going to start our new life together in this house. Everybody wins and gets what they want. Yes, I replied calmly. Everyone is definitely going to get exactly what they deserve. That night I could not sleep at all. Not because of nerves or worry. Because of excitement. Pure excitement. After months and months of humiliation, lies, and betrayal, the moment of my revenge had finally arrived. The moment of truth. I got up very early and got ready with great care and attention. I chose my best purple sweater. The one that made me look dignified. I went to the hair salon and had my hair styled nicely. I put on the pearl earrings my husband gave me for our 25th wedding anniversary. I wanted to look absolutely perfect for my moment of triumph. My moment of victory. When we arrived at the country club ballroom, everything was decorated beautifully with white flowers and sparkling gold lights everywhere. The guests started arriving one by one. My neighbors. Danny's old friends. Amanda's wealthy family. Everyone dressed in their finest clothes. Everyone expecting a night of celebration and joy. But I knew the truth. I knew it would be a night they would never forget for entirely different reasons. A night when the truth would finally be revealed to everyone. A night when Dorothy Thompson would stop being a victim and become justice itself. The event hall filled up completely by 8 o'clock in the evening. 50 people wearing their best outfits. Holding glasses of sparkling juice. Happy conversations filling the air with sound. The main table was decorated with white roses and gold candles. Everything looked like it came straight from a fancy wedding magazine. I sat in my special place of honor next to Danny and Amanda. I wore my purple sweater, my pearl earrings, and the smile I had been practicing for months. The smile of a proud mother celebrating her son's engagement. But inside my heart I felt something I never experienced before. Cold calmness. An absolute certainty. The peaceful feeling of someone who knows they hold all the winning cards in their hand. Amanda looked radiant and glowing in her tight pink dress. She moved through the hall like a queen greeting her subjects. Receiving congratulations from everyone. Posing for countless photos. Enjoying every single moment of attention on her. Danny followed her around with lovesick puppy eyes. Like a little boy with a crush. Dorothy, said Mrs. Chen, walking up to my table with a warm smile. You look absolutely lovely tonight. Everything is so elegant and beautiful. Thank you, Mrs. Chen, I replied sweetly. Amanda has excellent taste for planning parties. Have they set an exact date for the wedding yet? Mrs. Chen asked. In February, I answered with the same practiced smile. And by then I will be living in my new home already. Mrs. Chen looked at me with a puzzled, confused expression on her face. Your new home? What do you mean? Yes, I said calmly. I decided to move to a place more suitable and appropriate for someone my age. Young people need their own space to start their lives together. I did not tell her that the place was supposedly an old people home. I did not tell her I never chose this voluntarily. I just smiled and quickly changed the subject to something else. At 8:30 sharp, dinner service began. First came a fresh garden salad. Then baked chicken with special sauce. Then rice with vegetables. The food tasted delicious. The conversations flowed easily. Everyone seemed to be having a wonderful, joyful time. Amanda stood up to make a speech thanking all the guests. She spoke about how happy and blessed she felt. How much she loved Danny. How excited she was to start her new life as a married woman. And I want to especially thank my future mother-in-law, she said, looking directly at me with fake sweetness, for being so understanding and supportive of all our decisions and plans. The guests clapped and applauded. Some people looked at me with affection and warmth. They thought Amanda was honoring me and showing respect. They had no idea she was actually mocking me, making fun of me. Then Danny stood up to speak. He thanked Amanda's parents for paying for the expensive party. He talked about their future plans together, about remodeling the house, about the children they hope to have someday. My mother always taught me that family is the most important thing in the world, he said with emotion. And now our family is going to grow bigger and better. As he spoke those lying words, I discreetly checked inside my purse. The small remote control was right there where I put it. Mr. Peterson glanced at me from across the room, waiting patiently for my signal. Not yet, I thought. First I wanted them to keep talking, keep lying in front of everybody. I wanted them to dig their own grave deeper and deeper. At 9 o'clock, it was time for toasts and speeches. Amanda's parents said beautiful words about love and marriage lasting forever. Danny's old friends told funny stories from their college days together. Everyone raised their glasses to toast the couple's future happiness. Then Amanda decided to do something completely unplanned, something nobody expected. She stood up again and asked for complete silence from everyone. "There is something else very important I want to say tonight," she announced loudly. Her voice sounded different now. Louder, more confident and bold. Danny looked at her with surprised eyes. He had no idea what she was about to say. Neither did anyone else. "Our wedding is going to represent many big changes," Amanda continued speaking. "Necessary changes so we can start our life together on the right foot." I felt my heart beating faster and faster. Was she really going to say what I thought she would say? "For example," Amanda went on with a smile that did not reach her cold eyes, "my future mother-in-law has very wisely decided to move to a more appropriate place for someone her age. A place where she will have company and proper care from professionals." Confused murmuring started among the guests. Some people looked puzzled. Others looked uncomfortable and awkward. "It is a very brave decision," Amanda said with fake admiration. "Because not all women her age have the courage to accept that they can no longer take care of themselves alone." There it was. The public humiliation I had been waiting for. Amanda simply could not help herself. She had to make me look pathetic and weak in front of everyone. She had to prove she had won the battle. "I really admire Dorothy," Amanda continued with her fake speech, "for recognizing her limitations and making the smart choice to leave." The silence in the hall became very awkward and tense. People did not know if they should clap or stay quiet. Danny's face turned bright red. He tried desperately to signal Amanda to stop talking. But she was on a roll now. She had started and could not stop herself. "At first I thought it would be really difficult to convince her to leave," Amanda said with a little laugh. "But it turned out to be much easier than I ever imagined. In the end, old people understand when they are no longer useful or needed by anyone." Those cruel words were like a hard slap across my face. Several guests exchanged shocked glances with each other. Mrs. Chen looked absolutely outraged. Mr. Roberts from the bakery was clenching his fists tightly. "Amanda, please," Danny mumbled weakly. "Stop talking now." "What?" Amanda said, acting innocent. "I am just telling everyone the honest truth. Your mom served her purpose in life. She raised her son. She was a good wife. Now it is her turn to step aside and let the new generation thrive and succeed." The poison and venom in her voice was impossible to hide now. She was no longer pretending to be sweet and kind. She was no longer acting like the perfect, loving fiancé. She was showing her true ugly colors in front of absolutely everyone. And that was precisely the moment I had been waiting for. The perfect moment. I stood up very slowly from my chair. Everyone's eyes turned to look at me. Amanda stopped talking, waiting for my reaction. Waiting for me to cry. To break down sobbing. To run out of the room in shame and humiliation. But instead I smiled. A big, wide, genuine, satisfying smile. "Amanda," I said, my voice clear and strong and confident, "you are completely right about one thing. Tonight is definitely going to be unforgettable." I took the small remote control from my purse. I looked across the room toward Mr. Peterson and nodded my head once. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mr. Peterson announced, taking the microphone in his hand, "the mother of the groom has prepared a very special surprise. A tribute video for the future married couple." The lights in the hall went completely dark. The giant TV screen on the wall lit up bright. Amanda looked at me with a confused, puzzled expression. Danny frowned deeply. And then my revenge began. My perfect, beautiful revenge. The screen showed sweet photos of Danny as a baby and little boy. Gentle, soft music played in the background. Everything looked completely normal. A typical loving tribute from a proud mother. But I knew exactly what was coming next. And I could not wait to see their faces when they realized what they had really done. What they had brought upon themselves. My moment had finally arrived. The soft music filled the entire hall as photos of young Danny appeared on the big screen. The guests smiled with tenderness, seeing images of my son playing at the park, blowing out birthday candles, wearing his high school graduation cap and gown. Everything seemed like a normal, sweet tribute from a loving mother who adored her son. Amanda relaxed back in her chair, relieved. Danny smiled, thinking it was just a sentimental, emotional video. The guests whispered affectionate comments about what an adorable child my son had been. But then the music changed completely. Became darker. More dramatic and serious. The happy family photos disappeared, replaced by images of official documents, bank papers, contracts, forged signatures circled in red. "What is this?" Danny muttered under his breath, his face going pale. On the screen, text appeared in enormous letters. The real plans of Danny Thompson and Amanda. The hall fell into absolute, complete silence. You could hear a pin drop. Amanda turned white as a ghost. Danny tried to stand up from his chair, but I placed my hand firmly on his arm. "Sit down, son," I said in a calm but commanding voice. "This is only just beginning." The first voice recording began to play through the speaker system. Danny's voice echoed clearly throughout the entire hall for everyone to hear. "My mom is getting too old. She is not thinking straight anymore. We have to convince her to go to a home before she figures out what we are really doing." The guests looked at each other in complete shock and disbelief. Mrs. Chen brought her hand up to cover her mouth. Mr. Roberts shook his head in disgust. "That is not real." Amanda shouted desperately. "It is a lie. She is making this up." But then the second recording started playing immediately. Amanda's own voice, clear as day. "Old ladies like her always end up doing exactly what they are told. Besides, she already signed those loan papers with the forged signature. Even if she wanted to fight back, she cannot back out now. We have her completely trapped." The silence was absolutely crushing. 50 people sat frozen, staring at the screen with their mouths hanging open, listening in horror to how my own son and his fiancée had plotted and schemed to rob me and abandon me. "Turn that off right now," Ryan yelled, trying to stand up again. "Let it finish playing," I said firmly. "After all, you always wanted an unforgettable wedding that people would talk about for years. Well, here it is." The third recording was absolutely devastating. The most damning one yet. Jessica speaking coldly and cruelly about selling my precious belongings. Give her exactly 1 hour to pack up the basic necessities. The rest of her junk we sell online or throw in the trash. It is not like she will need any of it living in that nursing home anyway. Old people barely need anything. Several guests began rising from their seats in outrage. Some looked absolutely furious. Others simply wanted to leave immediately. But nobody could look away from the screen. Nobody could stop listening. "This is completely illegal," Amanda screamed at the top of her lungs. "You cannot record private conversations without permission. This is against the law." "Private conversations," I replied without losing my calm composure. "Planning to rob me in my own house? In my own living room? Those conversations stopped being private the moment you conspired against me." The video continued playing without stopping. More and more recordings filled the room. Danny talking about how he forged my signature on the bank loan papers. Amanda calculating exactly how much money they would get from selling my house. The two of them laughing together about how easy and simple it had been to deceive and fool me. After the wedding ceremony, we are changing every single lock on all the doors, Amanda's voice was heard saying on the recording. That way your mom cannot come back inside even if she changes her mind and regrets everything. Amanda's father stood up from his table, his face bright red with shame and anger. Amanda, what is the meaning of this? What have you done? Dad, do not believe her. Amanda cried desperately. That crazy old woman is lying. She made all of this up. But it was far too late for excuses. The video showed real, actual documents. Copies of the forged papers with Danny's handwriting. Evidence of everything they had planned in perfect detail. There was absolutely no way to deny it. No way to lie their way out. The most shocking and heartbreaking recording came at the very end. Danny and Amanda talking casually about my dead husband's life insurance policy. As if it meant nothing. As soon as she is settled in the nursing home, we will work on getting Dad's life insurance money transferred from her name to ours. That money should rightfully be ours anyway. She does not need it where she is going. Enough! Danny screamed, slamming his fist down hard on the table. Enough of this right now. But I was not going to stop. Not after months of humiliation and betrayal. Not after they planned to steal everything I worked for over 42 years of marriage. There is still more to see, I said calmly, coldly. On the screen, photos of nursing home brochures appeared. The same ones Danny had been secretly reviewing and researching. Documents where he calculated monthly costs. Notes written in his own handwriting about how they would get rid of me permanently. The text on the screen read his note out loud for everyone. Mom, Sunshine Meadows home, $2,800 per month, close to hospital if emergencies happen. The murmuring and whispers in the hall turned into loud exclamations of outrage and anger. Several people started yelling directly at Danny and Amanda. Others simply got up and left without saying a single word. You are absolutely despicable, Mrs. Chen shouted across the room. How dare you treat your own mother this way? You should be locked up in jail, Mr. Roberts added loudly. Amanda desperately tried to explain herself, her voice shaking. You are all misunderstanding everything, misinterpreting. We only wanted what was best for her. What was best for everyone? What was best for me? I finally stood up tall. My voice rang out clear and powerful throughout the entire hall. Stealing my house was what was best for me. Forging my signature on legal documents was what was best for me. Planning to abandon me in a nursing home against my will was what was best for me. Danny had tears streaming down his face, but they were not tears of guilt or remorse. They were tears of pure rage at being caught red-handed. Mom, please, he mumbled weakly. We can talk about this in private. Work things out. No, I said firmly and loudly. No more private conversations. No more secrets and lies. For months you treated me like I was a stupid, confused old woman who did not notice anything. Who understood nothing. The video came to its final end. The last words appeared on the screen in absolutely enormous letters that filled the whole screen. This is the true story of Danny Thompson and Amanda. Now everyone knows who they really are. The silence that followed was completely absolute. Nobody knew what to say. Nobody knew where to look or what to do. Amanda broke the terrible silence with a hysterical, piercing scream. This is nothing but the revenge of a bitter, jealous old woman. An old woman who cannot accept that her son does not need her anymore. That he has grown up and moved on. Those words were her absolute final mistake. Because they confirmed everything the guests just heard on the recordings. They proved beyond any doubt that it was all completely true. Amanda, I said, looking her directly in the eyes without blinking. You are right about one thing and one thing only. I am an old woman. But I am definitely not stupid. And I am absolutely not a victim anymore. I walked confidently toward the microphone that Mr. Peterson had left on a nearby table. It was time for my final speech. The speech I had been preparing for months. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said into the microphone, "I sincerely apologize that you had to witness all of this tonight. But it was absolutely necessary for everyone to know the complete truth. For months and months, I pretended to be the foolish mother who let herself be manipulated and controlled. But in reality, I was gathering evidence, documenting everything they said and did, preparing for exactly this moment right now. Because nobody, and I repeat, absolutely nobody has the right to decide my future without asking me. Nobody has the right to steal from me. And nobody has the right to treat me like I am worthless garbage to be thrown away. My revenge was complete and perfect. But the final blow was yet to come. The final devastating blow. The hall remained in total silence. The few remaining guests looked at me with a mixture of shock, awe, and respect. Danny had his head buried in his hands. Amanda was crying with rage and humiliation, her makeup running down her face and staining her expensive pink dress. But I was not finished yet. Not even close. The video had only been the first act of my revenge. The true final blow was about to land. "Mr. Harrison," I said, looking toward a table in the back corner, "could you please join me up here?" Mr. Harrison stood up slowly and deliberately. He had been watching everything unfold from his seat, waiting patiently for my signal. In his hands he held a black leather folder containing the most important legal documents of my entire life. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, taking the microphone firmly again, "I would like to introduce Mr. Harrison, my lawyer and attorney. He was also my late husband's lawyer and best friend for 35 years. Danny jerked his head up suddenly. His eyes went wide with fear. "A lawyer? What do you need a lawyer for, Mom?" "To protect myself from thieves and criminals," I replied, never taking my eyes off him. "Mr. Harrison, please explain to everyone here what we have discovered through our investigation." Mr. Harrison cleared his throat and opened the leather folder. "After thoroughly investigating all the documents Mrs. Thompson provided to me, we have confirmed beyond any doubt that Danny Thompson committed serious felony fraud. He forged his mother's signature to illegally obtain a bank loan. He used this house as collateral without her knowledge or permission." Loud murmuring and gasps filled the hall. Danny turned completely pale, like he might faint. "The loan amount totals $18,000, Mr. Harrison continued in his professional voice. "Money that Danny used to purchase a new automobile and for various personal expenses, including a down payment for a honeymoon trip to Mexico." "That is not true at all," Danny yelled desperately. "Mom gave me permission. She said I could." "Permission?" Mr. Harrison smiled coldly. "Do you have any legal document proving that permission? Any paper signed by your mother authorizing this loan?" Danny fell completely silent. His mouth opened and closed but no words came out. He had nothing. Because he never asked for my permission. He just took what he wanted. "Furthermore," Mr. Harrison went on, "we have overwhelming evidence that Danny was actively planning to have his mother committed to a nursing facility against her will, and to illegally appropriate all her assets and property. This constitutes attempted property fraud and elder abuse under state law." Amanda finally found her voice again. "You cannot prove any of that. You cannot prove it." Mr. Harrison pulled a small recording device from his jacket pocket. "All the conversations you heard in the video tonight were recorded in this house over the past 3 months. We have over 25 hours of recordings. Hours and hours of you both specifically planning how to rob and abandon Mrs. Thompson." The silence was absolutely deafening. Every word from Mr. Harrison landed like a hammer blow, like a judge pronouncing sentence. "But that is not all," I continued, taking back the microphone. "Mr. Harrison, please show everyone the new will I created." Mr. Harrison produced an official legal document covered with seals and notary signatures. "Mrs. Thompson officially amended her last will and testament 2 months ago," he announced. "Danny Thompson is no longer the heir or beneficiary of anything whatsoever. Not a single dollar. Not a single possession. Danny shot up from his chair as if he had been electrocuted. You cannot do that. That is not fair. I am your only son. Your only family. You were my only son, I replied with ice in my voice. Now you are just a stranger. A criminal stranger living illegally in my house without permission. Where is everything going then? Amanda asked, her voice cracking and breaking. Where is all your money going? My entire inheritance, I said with deep satisfaction in my heart. My life savings, my house, my life insurance policies, absolutely everything I own will be donated to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. To sick children who actually need help. Not to greedy, selfish adults who want to rob their own mother blind. Danny swayed on his feet like he might collapse. He grabbed the back of a chair to keep from falling down. Mom, please, he begged. Can we fix this somehow? Can we talk about this? I laughed. Bitter, cold laugh. Talk. How can we talk after you forged my signature on legal documents? How can we talk after you plan to have me committed? How can we talk after you calculated how much money you would make from my death? Mr. Harrison held up another official document. We also have a formal eviction notice ready. Danny Thompson has exactly 48 hours to vacate his mother's property completely. To remove all his belongings and leave. That is illegal. Amanda screamed at the top of her lungs. You cannot just kick him out of his home like that. It is his home too. Illegal. Mr. Harrison looked at her with pure contempt. Like forging legal documents is illegal. Like planning to rob an elderly woman is illegal. Like conspiring to commit fraud is illegal. Would you like to discuss what is legal and illegal? I walked over to Danny and looked him directly in the eyes. My son. The baby I held in my arms. The little boy I raised with so much love and sacrifice. The man who betrayed everything for money and greed. Danny, I said in a calm, steady voice. For 38 years I gave you absolutely everything I had. My love. My time. My energy. My money. I sacrificed my own life, my own dreams, to give you the best life possible. The best of everything. Tears streamed down his cheeks, but it was far too late for tears now. And you repaid me by planning to steal everything from me. By planning to abandon me in a nursing home like I was worthless garbage. Like all the years I dedicated to raising you meant absolutely nothing at all. Mom, No, I interrupted sharply. You no longer have the right to call me Mom. That word is for children who respect and love their mothers. You're just a thief. A criminal who happens to have come from my body. I turned to face Amanda, who was still crying in her chair. Mascara running down her face. And you, Amanda. You who told me I disgusted you from the very first day we met. You who planned to get rid of me like a piece of broken furniture nobody wants anymore. Dorothy, Now it is you who disgusts me, I said with steel in my voice. Not because of your face or your clothes or how you look. You disgust me because of your rotten, evil soul. Because of your heart filled with greed and cruelty. Mr. Harrison put all the documents back in his leather folder. Mrs. Thompson, would you like us to proceed with filing criminal charges against both of them? We have more than enough evidence for prosecution. Everyone in the hall held their breath. Danny and Amanda looked at me with absolute terror in their eyes. They knew I had enough proof to send them both to prison for several years. I thought carefully about my answer. I thought about justice. I thought about revenge. I thought about 42 years of happy marriage to my beloved husband. I thought about 38 years of devoted motherhood. No, I said finally. I am not going to send them to prison. Danny sighed with enormous relief. But I continued speaking. However, if you ever come near me again, if you try to contact me in any way, if you even drive down my street, Mr. Harrison will immediately file every single criminal charge. Every single one. I approached the microphone one final time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply sorry you had to witness this tonight. But sometimes it is absolutely necessary to reveal the truth, no matter how painful and ugly it is. The few remaining guests began to applaud. timidly at first, unsure. Then with more and more force. Louder and louder. Mrs. Chen stood up and shouted, "Well done, Dorothy. Those terrible people deserved everything they got." Others joined in the applause enthusiastically. For the first time in many, many months, I felt truly respected, valued, strong, powerful. Danny and Amanda gathered their belongings in complete silence and shame. They left the hall without saying goodbye to a single person. Their parents followed behind them, utterly humiliated and embarrassed. The hall emptied slowly as people left. The guests departed discussing and debating what they had just witnessed. Some gave me supportive hugs and pats on the back before leaving. When I was finally alone with Mr. Harrison, I sat down heavily in a chair and took a deep, deep breath. "How do you feel right now?" he asked me gently. "Free," I answered without hesitation. For the first time in years and years, I feel completely and totally free. But I knew the real freedom would come later. When I got home and Danny was no longer there. When I could walk through my own house without fear or worry. When I could finally begin my new life. My real, true life. 3 days later, my house was completely empty of Danny's presence. He came with 2 friends and a moving truck to collect his belongings. He did not say a single word to me. He did not look me in the eye even once. He packed his things in total silence and left my house forever. Amanda did not come at all. I suppose she did not have the courage to face me after everything that happened at the party. I walked through the empty, quiet rooms feeling something I had not experienced in many long years. True peace. Real silence. Not the tense, nervous silence of someone tiptoeing through their own home in fear. But the golden, beautiful silence of someone who is finally in complete control of their own destiny. Danny's bedroom no longer smelled of dirty socks and spilled soda. The living room no longer had his video game controllers and junk food wrappers everywhere. The kitchen no longer had his dirty dishes piling up, waiting for me to wash them like a servant. For the first time in 5 years, my house was truly and completely mine again. That first night alone, I slept better than I had in a very, very long time. I did not have to listen for secret conversations through the walls. I did not have to pretend I was asleep while they planned my future. I did not have to act like the foolish old woman who understood nothing and noticed nothing. The next morning, my real new life began. Mr. Harrison helped me legally cancel the fraudulent loan at the bank. The bank, after seeing all our evidence and proof, decided not to prosecute Danny criminally. But they immediately cancelled the entire debt. They also placed a permanent alert on Danny's credit file that would make it extremely difficult for him to get loans for many, many years to come. "It is a kind of justice," Mr. Harrison told me with satisfaction. "He will not go to prison, but he will not be able to commit fraud so easily anymore either." I also changed every single lock on all the doors and windows of my house. I wanted to be absolutely certain that Danny could not get inside, even if he somehow still had copies of the old keys. The first few days living alone felt strange and unusual. After 5 years of having people constantly in the house, being alone felt odd. But not alone in a sad way. Alone in the sense of freedom and independence. Alone in the sense of being able to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, however I wanted. I could watch my soap operas without anyone making fun of me or laughing. I could cook my casseroles without anyone criticizing them or complaining. I could walk around in my comfortable flip-flops without anyone calling me a ridiculous old woman. The story of what happened at the engagement dinner spread through the neighborhood in just a matter of days. People talked and talked about the dramatic scene, about the video, about the recordings. Some people congratulated me when they saw me walking on the street. Others looked at me with a mixture of pity and deep admiration. Mrs. Chen came to visit me every single afternoon without fail. "Dorothy," she would say, sitting in my kitchen, "I never imagined you were capable of something like that. I always saw you as so quiet and shy, so submissive and obedient." "I did not know I was capable either," I would reply honestly. "Sometimes you do not discover your own strength until you have absolutely no other choice. Until your back is against the wall. 1 week later, I received a phone call I did not expect at all. It was Amanda's mother calling me. "Dorothy," she said in an ashamed, embarrassed voice, "I wanted to call and apologize for what my daughter did to you. We had no idea about any of their plans. We are horrified." "I know," I replied calmly. "You are not responsible for what your children decided to do." "Amanda is completely devastated right now," her mother continued. "She says you ruined her entire life. Her reputation is destroyed." I was quiet for a long moment, thinking carefully. Then I answered, "I did not ruin anyone's life. I simply showed everyone the truth. They ruined their own lives with their own decisions and actions. Is there any possible way to fix this situation?" Amanda's mother asked desperately. "Any way you could forgive the children? Give them another chance." "Ma'am," I said very firmly, "forgiveness is only for people who are truly, genuinely sorry for what they did wrong. Your children were not sorry they hurt me badly. They were only sorry they got caught. That is a very, very big difference." Amanda's mother did not call me again after that conversation. 2 weeks later, Mr. Harrison brought me some news about Danny and Amanda. They had broken up and ended their engagement. Amanda's family called off the wedding completely. Danny moved to a different city far away to start over. "Does that news make you sad?" Mr. Harrison asked me gently. "No," I answered with complete honesty. "I am sad that I lost the son I thought I had. But that son never really existed in the first place. The man who lived in my house was a complete stranger all along." 1 month after the engagement dinner, I made a decision that surprised even myself. I decided to travel. To really travel. I had lived my entire life in the same small town. Got married there. Raised my son there. Became a widow there. I never traveled away for more than 2 days at a time in my whole life. But now, I had savings in the bank. Had time. And most importantly, I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted. I bought a train ticket to visit the big city of Chicago. It was the first time in my entire life I traveled completely alone. The first time I made a decision just for myself without asking anyone's permission or opinion. The train ride was absolutely beautiful. I saw landscapes and scenery I had never seen before. Rolling hills, wide rivers, forests and farmland. I met interesting new people on the train who told me stories about their lives. I stayed in a small but very clean hotel. I walked through beautiful parks I had only seen on television shows. During those 5 wonderful days away, I realized something very important. Something profound about myself. I was not just Danny's mother. I was not just Bernard's widow. I was not just the victim of family betrayal. I was Dorothy Thompson. A 68-year-old woman with a whole life still ahead of her. With stories to tell. With places to see and explore. With experiences to live and enjoy. When I returned home from my trip, I started making big changes to my house. I painted the walls much brighter, happier colors. Sunshine yellow in the kitchen. Sky blue in the living room. I bought beautiful new plants for every room. I replaced some old furniture with pieces I actually liked. Pieces I chose myself. I also started going out much, much more than before. I joined a group of ladies who met every Wednesday afternoon to play bingo and card games. I started attending church on Sundays again. Not out of obligation or duty, but because I genuinely enjoyed the community and friendship. I even bought myself completely new clothes. Dresses that made me feel pretty and confident. Comfortable but elegant shoes that did not hurt my feet. Earrings and necklaces that sparkled beautifully when I moved. 6 months after the engagement dinner party, I was sitting peacefully in my garden drinking morning coffee. A certified letter arrived in the mail. It was from a lawyer's office in the next town over. Inside the envelope was a handwritten letter from Danny. A letter asking for my forgiveness. Saying he understood his terrible mistake. Begging me to forgive him and give him another chance to prove himself. I read the letter 2 times very carefully. Then I folded it neatly and put it in a drawer in my desk. I did not write back. I did not reply at all. Not because I was cruel or heartless. Not because I could not forgive, but because I understood something very fundamental about life. Forgiveness does not mean going back to being a victim again. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to hurt you a second time. I could forgive Danny in my heart, in my prayers. I could wish him happiness and success in his new life somewhere else. But that did not mean I had to let him back into my life, back into my home. Some decisions are permanent and forever. And walking away from someone who betrays you deeply is one of those forever decisions. That night, sitting in my beautifully renovated living room, I reflected deeply on everything that happened. On the woman I used to be. And the woman I had become. I had lost a son. But I gained something far more valuable than a son. My dignity. My self-respect. I had lost a family. But I reclaimed something more important than family. My freedom. My independence. I had lost the sweet illusion of being loved unconditionally by my child. But I discovered something much more powerful. The ability to love myself. To value myself. To protect myself. I stood up slowly and looked at myself in the living room mirror hanging on the wall. I saw a 68-year-old woman with silver-gray hair. Expression lines and wrinkles around my eyes from years of smiling and frowning. And something completely new shining in my gaze. Strength, determination, inner peace. My story is my own now, I said out loud to my reflection in the mirror. And it is only just beginning. And for the first time in many, many decades, those words did not frighten me at all. They did not make me anxious or worried. They filled me with hope, with excitement, with possibility. Because at 68 years old, I had finally learned the most important lesson of my entire life. The most valuable lesson anyone can learn. It is never ever too late to stand up and defend your dignity. It is never too late to start completely over. To begin again. And it is never ever ever too late to choose yourself. To choose to be strong. To choose to be free. The months that followed were filled with more joy than I had felt in years. I continued traveling to new places. Small trips at first, weekend getaways to nearby towns, then longer trips to places I had always dreamed of seeing. I visited the ocean for the first time in 20 years. I stood on the beach feeling the sand between my toes and the salt air on my face. I watched the sunset paint the sky in colors I had forgotten existed, orange and pink and purple and gold. I also reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with over the years. Friends from my youth. From my early marriage. People who knew me before I became just Danny's mother. We met for lunch and coffee. We shared stories and laughter. We remembered who we used to be and celebrated who we had become. My neighbor Mrs. Chen became one of my closest friends. We took walks together every evening. We shared recipes and gossip. We looked out for each other the way true neighbors should. "You inspire me, Dorothy," she told me one evening as we walked. "You showed all of us that it is never too late to fight back. To stand up for yourself." "I only wish I had done it sooner," I replied honestly. "I wasted too many years being afraid, being submissive, being what everyone else wanted me to be." "But you did it eventually," Mrs. Chen said wisely. "That is what matters most. You found your strength when you needed it." As I walked back to my house that evening, I thought about everything I had been through. The betrayal, planning, the revenge, the freedom. And I realized something important. I did not regret a single thing. Not the video. Not the public humiliation I caused Danny and Amanda. Not the changed will. Not the eviction. Because everything I did to survive. To protect myself. To reclaim my life. Some people might say I was too harsh, too cruel, that I should have been more forgiving and understanding. But those people did not walk in my shoes. They did not feel the pain of discovering their own child planned to rob them, to abandon them, to erase them from their own life. I did what I had to do, and I would do it again without hesitation. Now, as I sit in my peaceful home writing down this story, I want other people to know something important. Especially older people. Especially mothers and fathers whose children take advantage of them. You have power. More power than you think. You have rights. You have dignity. You have value. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. Never let anyone make you feel worthless or useless just because you are older. Age brings wisdom. Age brings perspective. Age brings strength that young people cannot even imagine. Stand up for yourself. Protect yourself. Fight back when necessary. Your life belongs to you. Not to your children. Not to your family. To you. And you deserve to live it with dignity, respect, and freedom. This is my story. The story of Dorothy Thompson, the woman who smiled while her world burned down, and then rose from the ashes stronger than ever before. Thank you for listening. And remember, it is never too late to choose yourself.